All right, I can go ahead and get us started if you get us to the very beginning slide there. All right, good evening, everyone. This is Dr. Tony Ona McFarland. I'm not going to be able to stay the entire night. I have to go to a meeting here shortly. Wanted to go ahead and get things going. You're going to be in good hands with Laura and Taylor. John should be on shortly. Basically, the first thing I want to do is just kind of let everybody know what the schedule is going to be like for um, tonight and the rest of the week. So we can go ahead to the next slide. The first thing, just to remind everyone, is that on Saturday is our Expo Day. And basically, on the Expo Day, that is Saturday, this coming Saturday at noon. And this is basically a show and tell for you all to talk about the things that you've worked on and talk about what you've learned. Like, what things have you learned as a part of trends this summer? So we want you to, I'm sorry, this fall. We want you to talk about that and be able to like share uh, just a little bit about what you learned and what you got out of it. Nothing too deep. Your instructors will be there to help you, kind of help you get through any rough spots you might have or any fears you might have, but nothing too deep. Just want you to be able to invite family and friends. I do have Eventbrite that will go out tonight. They already have been informed about it, but we'll remind them with the Eventbrite and send that to them. We will also want to let you know that if you need more help after tonight and getting ready, you can do so by coming tomorrow night and sitting in at the tutoring session tomorrow night. So tomorrow from 6 to 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, we'll be right here at the same link. It's normally our tutoring night, but if you need to come and get help on your readiness for Saturday, any questions you may have on anything that we've gone over, if you need to review anything, we'll be here tomorrow night to support that. And I'm going to ask the volunteers to be able to do that as well. Also, tonight, the lineup is going to be this. I'm going to have Laura go ahead and share with you the template that, yeah, thank you. Share with you the template that's going to be used for your presentation. So she put a framework together to help you just kind of see what you need to do, what you need to paste into it. And then once Mr. Winstead gets on, he's going to talk about SQL. This is another language that we did not get to fully go into, but he just wants to introduce you to it. Nothing too deep, but just so you are aware of it. And once that's done, we'll let you go ahead and start working on your presentations. Now, if he's not here shortly, you can go ahead and start working on your presentations in the breakout rooms. And when Mr. John gets on, he can walk through the SQL. And that's pretty much it for tonight. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Laura to walk you through the slide deck and what the presentation looks like so that you can work on that and answer any questions that you might have, ask any questions you might have.
Thank you, Dr. Tony. I'm going to pull up the slide and show you all what I've put together before I send it out to everyone. But while I get that together, if everyone could just drop their email in the chat so I can just have that ready so I can send it out to all those emails. Okay, can everyone see my screen there?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. Okay, so this is the template PowerPoint. Sorry about the music in the back, it's kind of loud in here. This is the template PowerPoint that I put together for all our students to put in all the work that they've done. So this is for the Expo day, so I have the date on it. So for our students, this second slide, when you open it in PowerPoint, this is how it's going to be, or Google Slides too. You're going to do it on Google Slides. This first slide is just to kind of explain who you are, what grade you're in, what hobbies you have, and then lastly, you're going to put your data area of interest. So what your data was about. So if it was about art, if it was about basketball, or like weather, or whatever you decided to do your data on. So when you go in here, right here where it says type your name, you're just gonna delete that part and you're gonna put your own name right there. And then you're gonna go and do the same thing for your grade level. So anywhere where it says type, that's where you're gonna put something in. So you don't wanna leave those blanks. So that's the first slide. And then you're gonna go, or the second slide. So you're gonna go to your third slide. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to interrupt me. So the third slide is how you found your data. And here on this right side, you're gonna put a picture of your data. So here I put some instructions where it says put a screenshot of your data here so you know what you're doing on this slide. And you can delete this after you're done. But this I just put so it's clear what we're gonna put in this picture here. Give me 1 second so I can pull up a picture so you can see an example of kind of how that looks like. Oh, okay. So once you find your data, you're gonna put it in here just like this before you've done anything. So this is from when we're doing Python online and we uploaded our data on there. So I know a lot of us got to this point. So this is what you want to put on there is what I was thinking for everyone. If you didn't get a chance to get this far with the data, I would say you can just put a screenshot or a picture of your Excel sheet before you made any changes to it, before you cleaned it up, so people can see what you started with. So this is an example of what it could look like. And then your next slide was for putting in the code that we did that day. They're going to do the same thing I'm gonna go in and look for the file. So this is my code. It's kind of hard. Okay, there we go. So this is the code that I wrote, and I think this is as far as a lot of us got. Maybe we didn't get to that third line. That was just me messing around. But if you just have maybe the first two lines, I think that'd be great to put on here so that you can show what you're doing with your data file and code. So now people can see you started with this and then you did some code. And if you can include the results would be probably a good idea. My screenshot didn't get it, but it'd be nice to see that. If you didn't get to do this part with your Excel, I would say here's where you can put maybe your cleaned up data or how you filtered it with the pivot tables if you got to do that. And once you're done with this slide, you can make sure to take this part out. So when you're going through the slides, this doesn't show up here. And again, the tutors and the leaders of this group can help us and remind you all to do that part too. So mainly just worry about typing in and filling out your name, grade, hobbies, date, your data topic, and then getting pictures of basically your work and putting it in these two slides. If you only have enough for like one picture, you can go ahead and delete one of the slides and just put label. You can change kind of what it is that you're showing. It could be different. And then lastly, the last slide is going to be what you learned. So here you're going to type what you learned. Other than that, it's very short. So when you're presenting, hopefully what I'm thinking is you're just going to go by each slide. Your slide's going to have everything that you probably want to say about it. But of course, you're free to kind of add on what you want to say about it. But this slide should hopefully provide you with talking points as well. So when you're presenting your data, you go through your name, your grade, your hobbies, your area of interest, and then you can explain that this is the data that you started with, and then what you did with that data and how it turned out. And then you're going to end with what you learned. So are there any questions so far about it before I share it with everyone? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and email this to everyone. Just give me a couple minutes, like maybe 3 minutes, and everyone should get it. I'll double check. I'm done. Thank you.
And while Laura's doing that, John, I don't know if you want to go over SQL. Maybe that would be a good time while she's sending out those template slides if you're ready.
Yeah, Taylor, just give me like 2 minutes and then I'll start. Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
I'm ready. I'm ready to share my screen. Let me get to the right page. I am sharing my screen. All right, so tonight, so over the last couple nights and weeks, we've discussed a couple ways to manipulate data. We start off using Microsoft Excel, or Google Sheets, which most of the people should be familiar with. Then we transition in a little bit after that into a programming language called Python, which is very powerful. Tonight, I'm going to briefly introduce another programming language called SQL or SQL. So I should be sharing my screen and you should see it now. If you can see my screen, say I can see it.
I can see it.
I can
All right,
see it.
awesome. Thank you. All right, so SQL in short is a short acronym that stands for um standard query language for standard query language. That's what it stands for. And it's a way to grab information from a data set. And so I'm going to show you a couple simple commands, and this actually is pretty easy to learn this to it because it's kind of like common English language. All right, so we're going to go through it. So we're going to start off with some what SQL can do for you. All right. So if we start off with, let's go to this page. And I'm just on w3schools.com. So if you want to follow along, feel free to do that. I'm gonna put that into the chat, the webpage, so you can follow along and do the same command, but you can also just watch too, if you feel more comfortable doing that. And W3 Schools is the same website we have been using earlier on to kind of introduce you guys to Python. Like I said, this is a really good resource if you want to go and practice with some of these programming language. It's totally free, so you don't have to worry about signing up or anything. This login up top is if you want to track your progress, but you don't have to sign up at all. You can just use it just to learn it, play around with it. And what I like about it is it has online places where you can type in and then run it. You can see immediately with the results that you think you should get. So can you guys still hear me?
Yep, we
Yes,
can
we
hear you
can.
now.
Okay. All right. If I want to grab all the information from this table, so the command that I will use would just be select. Select means grab me everything or grab me information from this table. In this case, if I use the asterisk symbol, I'm telling it to grab all the data. And what I want to grab that data from, I want to grab it from a table. In this case, the table that we're manipulating is a table called customers. Okay, you guys see that? So if I run this command, I click try it yourself, and then if I want to do select asterisk, which means select everything from that table. I'm going to run it. And it's going to give me all the stuff from that table. So if it finishes, some of these background windows. Stop it. Hung up. Okay. Yeah, must have been. All right. So, and I just grabbed it. You can see the same table that I just showed. Okay. So say I just wanted to grab all the countries from this table as an example. But let's find out how many countries in my data set. Okay. So the way I would do that, instead of selecting all, I would go and say I want to select the column country from my table called customers. So I only want to get the list of countries in the table. So I will then run that and let it run its course. Delay going on with the server tonight. It's kind of slow today. All right, so let's go back and try it again. It's a little delay. Sorry about the delay, everybody. All right, so now it gave me all the countries. Okay, so if I look, I can scroll through. And then one thing I noticed is that some of the countries are repeated. See, Germany is listed twice. I see UK is listed a couple times. So maybe I want to clean that up. I only want to find the unique values of the countries listed in that data set. So the way you would do that is instead of just saying select country from customer, which grabs me all the lists in the country, even if they're repeated multiple times, I want to use a function called select and remember distinct. So what that tells SQL is I want to get the unique values of the country value from that table called customer. If I run that, so if you see here, I have 91 records, but I have some of those countries that are repeated, but I only want to get unique values. So I'm going to run select distinct country from customers. And if I run that, I only get the unique value. So now that value has been reduced to 21. Right, so that's one way to filter out data using SQL. Okay. All right, so if I want to, another function is I want to select the country from that table called customer, but I want it where the country is let's see, Belgium. Okay, so they already have it pre-filled out. Okay, all right, so in this case, let's start this up. So I want to select all right, so this is said, find me the data from the table customers where the country is equal to Belgium. So I only find the listing of the information in the table which has the country assigned to Belgium. So if I run that, Oh, Sweden. I don't know why such a delay tonight. All right, okay. Sorry for delay, but as you see, it found all the rows where the country Sweden was identified. And so you can play around with that. And so the syntax here is select the data that you want, okay? And then you could say, tell it from which table to get it from. In this case, I used a conditional statement of only where the country is equal to Sweden, okay? So say, now that I see that on the screen, find me the if I didn't know this, but since I'm looking at it, find me the customer ID from the table customers where the country is equal to Sweden. Let's run that and see what happens. And it only gives me the stuff that I'm looking for. So say I'm only looking for the user IDs or the employee IDs, I can find that data quickly using SQL doing that. And if I want to go back to my original, I can get rid of all this conditional. And I just want to select all the data from the table customers. That's going to bring me back to my original table. And that's all the data back again. So depending on what you're looking for, SQL can be really powerful in data analysis if you look filter it really quickly by learning certain keywords in SQL. And the keywords that you need to know, I'm only going to show you just those few tonight because we don't have a lot of time. But you can play around with this on this W3 Schools website and get familiar with it. But the codes that you use, so the ones I've been using for this thing is select. That means grab the data from the database, right? You can also update data into a database. Say you had a table with 5 rows, you want to add a 6 row. You can update that existing table, but just know that SQL is a powerful programming language. You're welcome to play around with it. And if you have, if anyone have any additional questions or want to know more about SQL and some of these other functions over here, I'd be happy to chat with you about that. But for tonight, that's all I'm going to go over. I'm going to stop sharing now. Are there any questions on what I just showed and what I did? Okay. If not, I turn it back over to you, Taylor and Lauren.
Yeah, thank you, John.
Sure.
So, Laura, I don't know if you had a chance to get the templates emailed to everyone.
Yes, so I sent it to all the emails that I got in the chat. So you put your email in there. Go ahead and check your Gmail and just make sure you got it. And just go ahead and open it, I would say, just to make sure you can't open it.